Hi, I'm John with Roundabout Woodworks, and in today's video, I got a new file. This is a knife-edged file, Nicholson knife-edge file. I think it's 8 inches long, and it comes, of course, without a handle. And if you're a wood turner, all of your files ought to have handles because it's an excellent way to practice spindle turning. I know a lot of guys don't hardly spindle turn, but I do mostly spindle turning. This one has got a triangular handle, and it's really uncomfortable in your hand when you use it. Scrapes and scratches, and so for that reason it needs to have a handle. You could dress it on your grinder and round it over and smooth it out, make it where it wasn't so aggravating on your hand. But unless you have a CBN wheel on your grinder, you're going to tear up the wheels. So since I'm a wood turner, I'm going to make a wooden handle for my file. And if you're a wood turner, you ought to make your own handles too. Don't go buy handles for your files. They're fun to make. It's really good practice. Allows you to express your artistic bent if you have one, or your practical bent if you have one of those. This file here is round, and so it doesn't have a ferrule, but I'm going to put a ferrule on this one, and that's not so much for the bending strength so much as to keep the handle together when you cram this wedged tang into the hole that you're going to drill. And I'll show you how to drill a hole too. I'm going to show you how I cut ferrules out of copper pipe. Anyway, oh, and subscribers. I got a bunch of new subscribers now. I'm not sure why, but I appreciate them. I appreciate each and every one of you. I also really enjoy reading the comments and the emails that people have been leaving and sending. And I've been spending some time on Facebook, hanging out on the woodchuckers group and the wood turners around the globe. I guess it's a deep-seated fear of rejection that prevents me from sending friend requests to people, so I generally don't send friend requests, but I accept them. If you want to be my friend on Facebook, that's fine. That's fine. That sounds terrible. It's not fine. I appreciate friends just like everybody else, I guess. My posts are generally what I've done lately. Not, I don't post news. I don't do any of that. I don't post funny pictures. I do respond to, let's see, how do I say it? I generally am not afraid to put my 2 cents into a comment thread when I have some knowledge of the subject. Anyway, so that's what today's video is about. It's going to be turning a file handle, cutting a ferrule, and mounting the handle on the file. I hope you find it informative, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you make one yourself. Love to see it if you do. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the video. Alright, so I've got a piece of oak that is 6 inches long, and I'm kind of particular about my holes. I like the handle to be true and plain with the file, but I just recently discovered how many of you don't have chucks. And so rather than, somebody with a chuck I'm sure can figure out how to make their own handle and probably wouldn't find this video as interesting as somebody who's just starting and doesn't have a chuck. So since I've got what I'd normally do is just mount this in the chuck and turn it and do it all in one shot and quickly take it off. But I think what I'm going to do now is turn it between centers and show you how to drill without a chuck. I don't do it this way anymore, but I used to do it that way. So that's how I'm going to do it this time. Alright, let's try this camera angle. It's mounted between centers, piece of oak. Gonna be roughing it with my favorite tool, and yours, I'm sure, 3/4 inch skew. I may change the I may move the camera. Starting at the end, always at the end. While I'm doing this cut, it's kind of awkward. At it, and this one's got a crack. Normally I would just throw this away. It could still make a good handle for a file because there's no impact or anything. I don't know how deep the crack goes, probably all the way to the center. Let me think about this for a while. Alright, I decided that since this is just a file handle and I want to use this piece of wood, call me crazy, I decided to fill the crack with super glue, and this process has some drawbacks. It takes a lot longer for the glue to harden inside the wood. Unless it's really wet. If it's really wet wood, it hardens faster, but this has been drying in the shop for a few months, and it's not as wet as it could be, I guess. When you have a deep crack, and this one goes about that far in, and it's not through the center, it's through the side. But you put super glue on there, you might spray accelerator or just leave it for 10 minutes, and you come back and you touch it and it's dry. The problem comes when you put a tool to it, and you will then be presented with a spray of wet super glue, which hardens instantly on your face shield, your shirt, your lathe, your tool, and your beard. And my beard did not get to be this long by cutting super glue out of it. So to prevent any disaster like that, I'm going to let this glue harden, and it's going to take a while. So I will be back after that's done to turn the handle for you. Alright, I'm going to take a 3/4 inch coupling, copper. I'm going to show you how I cut it. Mount it in the lathe. You don't need a lathe for this. Duh. Yeah, you need a lathe, obviously. Well, I guess technically you don't. You can use a tubing cutter. You're going to need a chuck for this. If you don't have a chuck, you turn a mandrel, slip the copper fitting on the end. That may be more work than you're after if you're trying to do it quick. But if you really wanted to do it fast, you just use a tubing cutter or a hacksaw or something. have a rounded edge skew like this one, this isn't going to work. Well, it'll work, but it'll be ugly. You need to have a skew that's got square flats on it. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back of the skew and I'm just going to push it in. Just like on a metal lathe, a cutting tool for that. And this will keep it from wobbling. The noise is terrible, but it's quick. And the leftover pieces will be very hot. Just too hot to touch. Anyway, that's how I cut couplers. Alright, how do you know what size holes to drill? Well, you take a drill gauge, or calipers if you don't have a drill gauge. This one was sent to me by one of those fly-by-night places. You know what I'm talking about. I've got a metal one somewhere, but I don't know where it's at. So you take the tang of your file and you look for the right size hole. And it just goes in like that. Just a little bit. That's a 3/16. So you're going to drill a hole 3/16 in diameter for the full depth of the tang. The full depth, plus maybe an 1/8. Then you look for a hole about a little bit further up, maybe halfway. Yeah. This one happens to be 17/64. You could go up to 9/32 if you don't have a 64th bit, but it's not critical. It doesn't matter. It's not that big a deal. Then you're going to drill in this one 9/32 or 17/64. Just that far, about halfway down. And then for the top, that's going to be 3/8. And you're just going to drill just maybe 3/8 of an inch in the end. And what that'll do is that'll give you a stepped hole that you can cram the tang into, which will hold it. And like I said, it's not critical. There's not going to be a lot of force on it. You're not going to hack on anything with your file. You're just filing. So that's what I'm going to do. And I know I said in another part of the video that I was going to do this between centers without a chuck, but I'm a little pressed for time and I want to get a video out, and I want to get back to a couple of projects that I've got in the works. And since I normally do it this way, and I never do them between centers anymore, I always do them in a chuck. And if you don't have a chuck, maybe I'll try and do another video later if somebody wants me to do it. But if you don't have a chuck, you ought to get a chuck, because they speed up things so much and they're so convenient and helpful. And I mean, let's face it, you're going to turn for the next 20-25 years. You're going to have a chuck eventually. You may as well get one early. Anyway, I'll be back. Alright, first thing you're going to do is take your skew. Yes, it has to be a skew. And there's a center mark in this one, but I want to make a little V cut. Not really a V cut. I want to be able to find, I want my drill bit to be able to find the center of the blank. See, it's off center. That's all it takes. one drawback to this lathe is the tailstock. The new Nova lathes have a much better tailstock, but mine is kind of sloppy, which makes drilling a challenge sometimes. But I've had it long enough that I've learned how to adapt. So you need to make sure that it's lined up. If you have a movable headstock, if you don't have a movable headstock, this isn't a problem. You just got to watch your tailstock. It might, if it's sloppy. Anyway, let me get on with the drilling here. Alright, now we're going to drill our step with 17/64. Just to the tape. This might be an awkward angle, but just imagine you're standing over my right shoulder watching me. Next thing we need to do is fit the ferrule that you saw me cut. This one. For that I'll use a pair of calipers. If you wanted to, but I'm going to use a parting tool. This should not quite fit yet. That's what I'm after. Just barely. Does not fit on. I don't think you can see that. There's a little burnish mark. right there. That's how far I'm gonna go down. Now, take another one. This one's uncut. And I'm going to press it on. And I did not go far enough with my bushing. So I'm going to cut the end of it off. I'm just trimming off the end with the flat side of the skew. I'm not using the edge, I'm using this portion. Now let me shape the handle. a little bit more. And that's why there's no bead on the end, because it would break off or get smashed when I mount the file in the handle. You can see it's on there straight. This is a knife edge file, so it's got a safe edge here, and it's got teeth here and on the edge here. Anyway, that's the file handle. Make a bunch of them. Thanks for watching.